Many of you have already seen Fast X by now, and if you haven't, what exactly are you waiting for? Anyways, the movie is chock full of nods to previous times in the Fast Saga and a lot of hints as to what might come in the next two parts of this trilogy. And I don't want to take up too much of your time, so I'm gonna rapid fire like 10 things that might have sped right past you, kinda like this one. So let's get right into it. And just so we're clear, if you haven't seen the movie yet, spoilers ahead. So we just showed you number 1, the Box and Dom's garage, which is a nod to the events in Fast 5, where Tej opened up a garage in Miami, Tej's auto service. Early on in the movie, we see Dom drifting around and doing donuts with little Brian on the roof of a parking structure in Angelino Heights, overlooking LA's city skyline. This is a nod to an early scene in the original Fast and Furious movie where Brian is doing almost the same thing with the LA skyline in the background too. At the Toretto house for a family barbecue to kick off the movie, you might have missed the empty seat, which was saved for Brian, which could be a nod to Paul Walker and that he'll always have a seat at the table. When Dom and Han are talking in the garage of the Toretto house, the conversation ends with Los Bandoleros for Life, which is a nod to the franchise's second short film, Los Bandoleros, where Dom works with Han and Rico Santos to get Tego out of prison.
Los Bandoleros for life.
Los Bandoleros for life.
Mr. Nobody is still nowhere to be found, and up until now, it's been anybody's guess whether he died or went underground. But when Dom met with Queenie in Rome, he asked her to get a message to him, which implies that Mr. Nobody is in fact alive.
I need you to get a message to Mr. Nobody.
We'll need a medium for that, or a magician. He's done his disappearing act.
Just get the message out.
I wonder how he's going to re-enter the story. Really quick, if you could do me a favor and hit the like button while I get the next 5 things on my list lined up, I'd really appreciate it.
You better hurry up, they just took the convoy.
There we go, let's dive into the second half. Little Brian shows some uncomfortability when he gets on the plane with his uncle Jacob. Jacob asked him if it was because of the heights, and little Brian said it wasn't that. Now, while there isn't really any real clarification about why he was actually nervous on the plane, this is probably due to the time Cypher kidnapped him and his mother Elena when he was a baby, which also led to Elena's murder.
Wait.
Speaking of plane rides, you may or may not know that the stewardess that handed Jacob 3 bottles of vodka and a key to escape from the agency while they were on the plane is none other than Paul Walker's daughter, Meadow Walker. In an Instagram post she made, she stated, "I grew up on the set watching my father, Ben, Jordana, Michelle, Chris, and more on the monitors. Thanks to my dad, I was born into the Fast family. I can't believe now I get to be up there too, with those who have been around to see me grow up." In another nod to Mr. Nobody, after he got injured in Fast 7, he told Dom that he really needs to try Belgian beer.
You really oughta try that Belgian ale, man.
That's because earlier in the movie, Dom passed on the offer for a Belgian beer and went for a Corona. And in Fast X, when Mr. Nobody's daughter finds Dom to have a chat, she offered him a Belgian, and this time he took it. I guess the Nobodies all drink Belgians.
Queenie told me I could find you here. Belgian?
When Han took it upon himself to face Decker Shaw on his own, took a lot of balls, but did you remember that this happened before? That's right. In the post-credits scene of F9, Shaw was seen beating a punching bag that did have someone in it too, but there was a knock at the door, and what do you know, it was Han. That was a great way to link the two movies if you ask me. The last reference on this list is about Jacob. He took little Brian on a bit of a road trip in the blue Ford Mustang. The Mustang is a nod to F9's flashback scenes where he was racing Dom's 67 Charger with his 92 Mustang. These car choices were actually intentional, alluding to the real-world rivalry between Dodge Charger and Ford Mustang. Well, that's actually all we have for this list. Which of these did you catch or miss? Let me know in the comments, and make sure you like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell before you go on to another video so you'll know when we drop the next one. Till then, that was the gist.